Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the likes, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing, are Chelsea showing a lack of ambition in the transfer window this summer? Now, I just want to preface this by saying that yes, I'm aware that there's still over a month of the window left and things could definitely change. But as things stand right now, with less than 2 weeks until our first pre-season game against Wrexham, I very much feel like we've not been ambitious enough in the market. We've not addressed enough of the areas that need addressing. And we haven't really improved the first team with any of the signings, in my opinion. Obviously, we've bought 4 players in. Tosin Adarabioyo on a free from Fulham. We've bought Amari Kellyman in, unknown teenager from Aston Villa. We've bought in Mark Guiu, the Barcelona striker, and we've also bought in Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall from Leicester City, whilst we obviously know we've agreed a deal to sign Esteval Willian, who will join in 2025. Now, if you look at that, if you look at those 4 names there, right, okay, you're taking a punt on Amari Kellyman, who's a complete unknown. We don't even know if he's going to play this season. We can throw Renato Vega into the mix. I know he's not officially been announced yet, but that deal is all but done. So you're looking at Kellyman, who has played 2 Premier League games for Aston Villa, complete unknown. You're looking at Guiu, who's made 7 appearances for Barcelona. You're banking on him as a talent. And you're looking at Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, who is an experienced player, but can he make that step up from Leicester City to Chelsea? And then you're looking at, obviously, Renato Vega as well, who, again, has played 26 games in the Swiss League last season. We don't even know yet if he's going to be part of the first team squad or not. So I'm looking at it, and if you asked every Chelsea fan at the end of last season, right, what needs addressing? And they would have said, we need a top-class centre-forward. That is the most important thing, a top-class centre-forward, a left-back potentially. I guess we've addressed that with Vega, and maybe a goalkeeper as well. But certainly we wouldn't have been looking at strengthening midfield, bringing in more random kids that, you know, we don't have the space for. Necessarily feels like we're talent hoarding. But right now, I just look at the business and I just think with those 4 players that have come in, you know, yes, okay, Adarabioyo's got Premier League experience, leadership qualities, adds height at the back. How often is he going to play? I think he's going to play more than people expect. But are we really expecting him to perform part of the first choice Chelsea partnership at the back next season? I mean, I don't think so. Dewsbury-Hall, he'll probably play a lot more than people expect as well, particularly if Conor Gallagher leaves. But again, it's asking a lot of him to come in where really his main standout season was in the Championship last year and to make an instant improvement to this Chelsea team. Now, I'm fully aware that, you know, we're looking to bring the wages under control. I get that. You can't just be chucking cash, chucking massive wages at players that don't deserve them. You know, otherwise you get stuck in an issue like we have with Raheem Sterling and like we've had in the past, where you've got average players on massive wages and you simply cannot get rid of them. So I'm fully aware of that, and I applaud the ownership for wanting to bring this back under control in terms of the wage expenditure. But on the flip side, you know, if you want the top players, if you want the guys that are going to be needle moves, you want the guys that are going to improve your team and have an instant impact, unfortunately, the top players command top money. And it's almost like the Chelsea ownership are only just finding this out. You know, if you want top players, you have to play top money. And yeah, it seems that we're not aware of that. You know, we constantly hear about, you know, are we dreaming of Nico Williams and whatnot? Nico Williams is very attainable. You know, I'm not saying, you know, he'd want to come to Chelsea necessarily. Go and try. It's £43 million release clause. Okay, the wages might be a little bit more than you're prepared to pay, but are you serious about improving this team, or are you not? Are you just going to take a gamble and hope that all these players become good and not have, you know, experience and more proven quantities interspersed throughout the team? You know, there's a reason why no one's done things like we've done them before, because it's a massive gamble and the chances are it potentially doesn't work. So I just look at it, you know, we're coming up less than 2 weeks to our first pre-season game, and it just feels very, very underwhelming in the transfer market. I'm not asking us to go out and just splash cash on big names. I'm aware that over the years, big name signings haven't really worked out at the football club. And you know what? Some of our best business has been more kind of unknowns at a cheaper price. I get that. I'm not calling for us to sign names for the sake of it. You know, I've always said, you know, you want players that suit the system, and if that means signing someone that's perhaps a bit less talented as a footballer, but fits the system better and is not as big of a name, I'm fully on board with it, because that's what we should be doing, signing players that fit the system. However, I can't help but feel that we've been just been lacking ambition in the window so far. You know, I would have expected a bit more. I would have maybe expected, you know, when you hear us being linked to the likes of Michael Elise, pursuing Elise, and then we miss out on him for whatever reasons you want to believe, and then you're seeing we're linked with the likes of Somerville, Karim Adeyemi, Francisco Conceição. You know, if you miss out on Elise, make sure you go and get the next best one out there, which is Nico Williams, or do everything you can to try and make a deal happen. You know, I almost feel like this Nico Williams stuff, this Alexander Isak stuff, you know, it was just smoke screens to make us think that look, we're trying for targets, but they're too expensive. They're beyond what we're prepared to do. But we've shown that we've tried to do it. It's not been possible, you know, to try and appease the fans, and they're just going to go back to doing what they want to do, which is just sign a load of talented youngsters and hope for the best. So I just feel massively underwhelmed by the business. I would have, you know, if we're looking for a winger, you go and try and get the best ones available, and we're simply not trying to do that. So I can't understand what the thought process is in this transfer window, because this is the fourth window of a 4-window plan we were talked about, and it's been the most underwhelming window of the lot. I'm not talking in terms of volume of players or amount of money spent, but just in terms of names that have come in, positions that have been filled. You know, everyone knows we need a striker, and I understand it's not as easy as just go and sign a striker. But you know, if you're going to, I understand they want to maybe wait and assess in pre-season and whatnot, but ultimately, if you've got new signings coming in, particularly in that centre forward position, you want them to be there for the whole of the pre-season under a new manager. We don't want to have a situation where, you know, we decide in pre-season, or maybe Guiu's not good enough, we weren't as convinced about Nkunku in the 9 role, we better go and sign a striker, and they've missed the whole pre-season under the new manager. So that's something that you know is a risk. I'm on board with us not signing someone and seeing how things go. But on the flip side, you know, you are taking a risk, because if you then decide you need someone, they've missed the pre-season, and it feels like they would be starting on the on the back foot. So yeah, I do feel massively underwhelmed. You know, you can't knock the ambition to spend money from this ownership. You absolutely can't, because it's clear as day to see. But what you can look at is areas not being addressed that everyone knows needs to be addressed, and just the caliber of player that's coming in. No ceiling raisers, no kind of top players, no one that's going to come in and really make a difference. You know, is the Chelsea squad, is a team going to be better for having Dewsbury Hall, Tosin, and this level of guy? I don't think it is. Yeah, you might have better rotation options for your cup games and your Conference League and all that business, but ultimately, in your bread and butter, your week in, week out Premier League stuff, it's just not moving the needle at all. It really isn't moving the needle. I don't want to sound like I'm moaning and being ungrateful here, but I just feel as a fan, I personally feel a little bit underwhelmed and a bit concerned about this transfer window to date so far, because it's not been doing, we simply haven't been doing the business. You know, you link with a whole host of names and nothing's really materialized. I know that we don't need a lot. You only have to look at the pictures coming out from the first few days at pre-season, and like actually arguably keeping everyone fit is more important potentially than making a few signings. I fully subscribe to that point of view. And you look at the squad available to us, and everyone's pretty much there, bar the guys on international duty still. There's a lot of options to choose from. We don't need much, but the biggest thing that needs addressing just hasn't been addressed at all. And that for me is a concern. The caliber of player coming in is a little bit of a concern. We're taking a punt on guys becoming as good as we think they're going to become, and there's no guarantees of that whatsoever. And it just feels like everything's being done on like red or black. Oh, it might come up or it might not, and we'll just deal with the consequences afterwards. It doesn't really feel like this has been very well thought out in my view. So yeah, it's a real strange one. It's a real strange one. But there we go, guys. That's kind of my thoughts on the transfer market to date so far. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash the likes, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you again in another one soon. Up the Chelsea, and peace out.